The rabbis say that prophecy ceased in Israel with the three prophets, Zechariah, Haggai, and Malachi. They say that the windows of heaven closed until the announcement by the angel Gabriel of the birth of John the Baptist. The book of Malachi closes the Old Testament, and I'm being told that the book of Malachi was written by the prophet Ezra. Malachi was his pen name. So let's discover together why this book was written and why it was placed at the end of the Law and Prophets, called by us the Old Testament. It's time to feast on the words of Jesus Christ.
It is fitting that we close our study of Ezra's words with the book of Malachi. Ezra was Malachi, and since he was commissioned to prepare a canon of Scripture for both the world and for what remained of the kingdom of Judah, it makes sense that he would close the Old Testament with a summation of God's closing message to the people. When Ezra's Apocalypse and Malachi are studied together, some very interesting lessons are found, ones that validate both books and dovetail too perfectly with the Restoration under the administration of Joseph Smith. Before we begin, it is important to clarify a confusion which is gaining ground in modern thought. Wealthy modern Jews have spent a great deal of money remarketing themselves as the chosen. Latter-day Saints can't really complain because before them, we too realized that with money and marketing, it was possible to change public perception. When the federal government of the United States outlawed a portion of our religious rites, forbidding our practice of polygamy along biblical lines, we complied to be good citizens and ended the practice. The problem was that so much energy had been expended by the nation in justifying federal interference into our private religion that we were known more globally for so-called spiritual wifery than we were known for the restoration foretold before the day of judgment. It was Church President Wilford Woodruff who reasoned that the same marketers who had been deriding us could be used to change our image if we were the ones paying them to write the stories that we wanted printed. When in Rome, as they say. He spent the final years of his life meeting, hiring, and schmoozing the movers and shakers of so-called propaganda in an attempt to change our image. In fact, he died in San Francisco while doing just that. Needless to say, his efforts worked, and in not so many years, so-called Mormons were known not for collecting as many wives as a man could afford, but rather as the family church. While we as a people had only about 50 years, give or take, to repaint ourselves, the Jews had a much larger problem. So many of their prophets had warned them that if they missed their calling, they would become a thing of horror, a byword, a hiss, and an object of ridicule among every nation, to combine these warnings from Moses to Jeremiah. That is a lot to overcome. Knowing that if they missed their calling with the Messiah ben Judah, they would be given one more chance with a lesser Messiah called the Messiah ben Joseph. So, just what was the Jews' calling? Let's take a short tangent to set the stage. If you want to have some fun with your Jewish friends, and that is harder to do than you might think, Jews can be horribly self-reflective when it comes to teasing. You can ask them, who would they say is the greatest Jew of all? Many will say it was Moses. That's a great choice. Moses was great. But Moses was a Levite, not a Jew. Others will say it was Abraham. He's another great man. But Abraham was a Hebrew, not a Jew. Now don't get me wrong, it's a truly fabulous culture that owns the likes of Moses and Abraham. But they were not Jews. After you exhaust the options, and there are 2 or 3 more, you and they will be left with the realization that no Jew did anything 1/10 as historically important as Jesus of Nazareth, the house of David, did. Modern man forgets that there were originally 12 tribes of Israel, of which Judah was only one. Each tribe was given a calling and purpose in the greater plans of God. Labeling each tribe's calling is beyond the scope of this short podcast, but we must say here that Levi was given the high priesthood, Ephraim of Joseph was given the birthright, and Judah was given the personal intimacy of the Son of God. When all Israel harassed Levi to set one tribe over the others in terms of royalty, God chose first Benjamin and then Judah with David. And this circles us back to where we started. Our human family of Judah was chosen to witness the intimate life of the Messiah, David's son, witness his fulfillment of the Father's plan of salvation, and then testify of such to all the world. That is all they were called to do. Now, for millennia, Christians have been quick to point out that they blew it. But this is not entirely true. While many did blow it, others embraced it. All of the Lord's original 12 apostles and his 70, plus the vast majority of his followers, were all Jews. These did witness to all the world that Jesus was the promised hero son foretold in every culture. It was always the Lord's plan that Israel would take the message of salvation successfully obtained to all the world. This his Jewish kin did. The fact that some of his kin, upon meeting him in person, didn't want him takes nothing from the ones who did want him and gave their lives worldwide in testimony that he was exactly who they said he was, the Savior of the world. Today, the powerful Jewish mafia is marketing the idea to Christians that it is Jesus' will that a future Jew rules the world. They have pushed into Christian dogma that Christians are to get behind their form of Zionism and support a world Jewish leader of their choosing, based out of a unified Jerusalem. They have repurposed scriptures that speak of Jesus Christ as pertaining to their agenda without him. Too many Christians have fallen for their marketing. While pushing this propaganda, they have also sought to undermine the scriptures that testify of Jesus' first coming. A simple example of many we might have chosen will stand for the whole. The same Jewish cabal who is pushing Zionism on their terms has also been paying compromised biblical scholars to rewrite the Bible and its commentary. They are saying that Isaiah's famous, "The Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel." They are preaching that this should be changed in our translations to, "The Lord himself will give you a sign. Look, a young woman will conceive a child. She will give birth to a son and will call him Emmanuel," which means God is with us. Okay. Now, how is this a special sign from God? It would indeed be miraculous if a young man bore a son, but a young woman giving birth? It is said that 385,000 babies are born each day on planet Earth. So which one is the sign then? Oh, yes, the one the Zionists choose as our new world king. Do you get it? Here is a translation of these verses to use as a study guide. It is a book of warning and great hope until the New Testament.
Malachi 1:1. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi.
I have loved you, Israel. You ask for proof? Look at the history of Jacob for evidence. Wasn't Esau the stronger, the greater, the more likely to be favored in the eyes of all? Did I not bless Jacob and build him into the greatest house? Where is Edom today? They were great and you feared them, but while the lands of Israel have blossomed, are not the lands of Arabia a desert filled with the reptiles who call that wasteland home? It's true that the Arabs are arrogant. Even now, They say in their hearts that they will retake the land and build even in the desert. They will accomplish this, for they are a tough people, but I will destroy them in the end. You will know their lands by a wicked and cursed name, and they will yet be called the people that Jehovah hates. You will see this happen when I am ready, and then you will say to all that it was the Lord your God who gave the entire promised land of Israel back to you. I do have this to say to you, children of Israel. Sons, honor your fathers. Servants, honor your masters. You call me your father, but you don't honor me like a son should. If you call me instead your master, then why don't you fear me? O priests that hate my name. I heard you saying, when have we hated you, Lord? You knowingly offered moldy garbage on my altar, proving that you see my table as beneath you. I hear you saying, when have we ever done this to you? Admit the truth. You sacrificed the blind, lame, and sick animals at my altar because they are worthless to you. Try giving an earthly king a diseased goat as a tribute and see if he will be happy about it. I beg you to think what you are doing. Ask me to be gracious with you. I have always been your means of success. I would rather that one of you were brave enough to simply close the doors to the altar than make me sacrifices that mean nothing to either of us. I am not happy about this, and I won't accept it. I am a great king, and at a future time, every family of man will say so. They will burn incense to me in purity all around the planet. The heathens will even call me great and hold my holy name in respect. But you hold my great name with contempt with your offerings of diseased animals and moldy fruit. You have said amongst yourselves that my offerings are a burden to you. You have raised your noses at me and brought junk to my altar just to do it. Should I accept this and be glad about it? A curse to those who had something much better to offer me and lied about it. Some of you had a perfect male lamb, such as I require, but instead brought the injured and diseased one. I am a great king. My name is still remembered with dread among the heathen peoples.
The second chapter of Malachi is, in my opinion, the most far-reaching. The rabbis say that there are 4 levels to divine writ, starting with the most simple and expanding into the most profound. I believe that we are witnessing a great example of this in chapter 2. Let's continue with our study, but leave it at level 1 and expand on it once we have completed the entire book.
Malachi 2:1. And now, O ye priests, this commandment is for you.
Now a word for the priests. If you won't listen to this warning and treat me correctly, I will curse you. I will turn your many blessings into many curses. Yes, I have already done this because your hearts are evil. I have already said before that such things will turn to curses, and my words stand. See, are your harvests bountiful? I will not bless your increase. I will spread the garbage of your offerings as manure over your graves. Even the waste of your better feasts will cover your tombs in the day that I send a mighty one to take you away. When this happens, you will know that you deserved it. I had warned you. Remember that my priesthood covenant with you is found in the ordinances of Aaron's sons. I made a covenant with you for life and peace with Aaron's grandson Phinehas. Do you remember that? He wrestled this from me through his deep respect of my power and feared the might of my name. and treated me with deep respect for fear of my greatness. He spoke my laws with truth. He never lied in my name. He was a priest like you, but he was righteous, and many people were saved by his word and example. Priests should be like him. They should not lie and gossip. They should speak the law truthfully. Priests are my messengers.
There are two particularly important visions that deal with this exact moment. One was given to Father Levi when he was called to be the family high priest after the order of Melchizedek, standing in place for Father Abraham under the new and everlasting covenant. And the second, a vision given to Gad the seer in the days of King David. Both of these are lengthy and beyond the scope of this short podcast, but can be feasted upon in Volume B of the Gospel Feast series, Gad the Seer and the Corruption of the Covenant, and Volume C, the Testimonies of the Sons of Israel and the Message of the Plates of Brass, the Levi chapter.
You don't do this because you don't obey me. You are terrible examples of the law because you don't keep the law. You have ruined the covenant I made with you in exchange for having the Aaronic priesthood. Thus, I have allowed the people to see you as you are, a joke. They see you as hypocrites. Don't we all worship the same universal Father? Don't we have the same God after all? Why treat your brothers this way? Why destroy the marriage covenant I made with you at Sinai? You have all not kept your side of my covenant. I am your husband, but you have married yourself to some idol's daughter. Many of the priests are guilty of this. Yes, even the ones who have been well taught. Even the high priest is guilty of this. And more than that, you weep over my altar and cry out, "Why won't the Lord take pleasure in my offering?" It's because I have seen how you are cheating on your wives. You are as my wife, since I am the husband of Israel. How can I take delight in hypocrites? Treat your wives how you want me to treat you. Didn't I make you one flesh? And what do I want from you? Raise up to me righteous children. No more hypocrisy in your marriages. The Lord hates divorce. Divorce is like violence under your protection. It is like injuring the one you have called beneath your mighty wing. Guard yourself against this. Do not be a betrayer of your sacred trust. I am so tired of hearing you complain that I bless evil people or that somehow I like what they do. I can't stand anymore to hear you ask me, "Where's the God of judgment?"
After warning the priesthood holders to be very careful in protecting the holiness of their stewardship, Chapter 3 goes on to reconfirm that the Messiah would come and that a messenger would prepare the way before him as an Elias. We testify together as Christians that this preparer was the Levite John the Baptist, who testified to his last that Jesus of Nazareth was the Messiah so promised here, and by many other holy prophets.
Malachi 3:1. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me.
Listen to me. I will send you my messenger. He will prepare you to receive me. I will come to you. It will be sudden. Suddenly I will show up in the temple. So will my messenger. It will happen. So I ask you, will you be able to survive my coming? Who will be alive when I do appear? You know that I am like a furnace that destroys all impurities. You know that I am like soap that scrubs away all evil. I will sit down among you thusly. I will purify your blood. I will have a pure priesthood, even if I have to burn your evils away personally. You will yet perform the duties you have promised me in purity. When that happens, then I will be pleased with your offerings to me, just like I was long ago with your ancestors. When I suddenly appear and refine you, I will be quick to destroy all the sorcerers, adulterers, liars, oppressive employers, landlords, and those who abuse and misuse the poorest among you. All of you who do not respect my law and commandments will deal with me.
Are there sorcerers affecting Israel today? Go back and listen to episode 21 and episode 42, if you haven't yet.
I do not go back on my word. That is the only reason you children of Jacob are not destroyed even now. Oh, how it pains me to think of it all. From the very start, your fathers disobeyed me. Listen to me now. Repent and come back to me, and I will be there for you. I can hear you asking, when did we ever leave you?
Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings.
Here is my answer. Would mortal man rob God Almighty? So I hear you ask next, when did we ever rob you? I answer, you robbed me by not paying your tithes and offerings to me.
Ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation.
You are cursed for this because you have robbed God. All of you have done this.
Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house. And prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it.
Enough. Bring me all of your honest tithes to my storehouse, that I might be a God of great means. Try me. Test me out now. Do this, and I will make you rich in blessings that are more than you could possibly contain.
And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, saith the Lord of hosts.
Even more than this, I will stop the destroyer from ruining your harvests. You will have overabundance if you will trust me. All the nations of this world will say that you are the truly blessed ones who live in the happiest of homes. I have said it. You have said a lot of words against me. I can hear you question, when did we ever do this? I have heard you say that it is worthless to serve me, and that you have gained nothing by performing my saving ordinances. I have heard you say that you walk in mourning when you follow where I lead. I have heard you say that the wicked ones are the truly happy ones on earth. I have heard you say that those who tempt God with their sinful lives are the ones who have been saved. So the people heard the messenger of the Lord and came together to talk a lot about what was said. The Lord heard them seriously discussing all of his grievances that he had had with the people. And so a book was written up by them, and they put their names in it, that they would remember the Lord and respect his holy name. And the Lord was pleased that they listened and said, I will own these. In the day of the Lord, they will be the jewels in my crown. As a man's sons are his most precious possession, so these are mine. I will forgive them and spare them, just like a father spares his good son, even though he was angry at him for a time. You will know these by their fruits. He that serves God shall be in the book, but the wicked liar will not.
Malachi 4:1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly, shall be stubble.
You will soon see the day that will burn up the liars, and all the proud and wicked too. Nothing will be left of those. But those who respect my name, to them that day will be bright like the sun. The same that will burn up the wicked will heal the righteous. Then these will grow up to be powerful princes, like the strong young calves of a powerful bull. In that day you will crush the wicked who oppress you. They will be the burnt ashes under your feet the day I burn them. I have said it to you, my righteous sons. Remember the law of Moses which you are bound under now. Remember all the commandments and promises of Sinai. It is important.
Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord.
Lastly, know this. Before the great and terrible day of burning, I will send Elijah, the prophet, back to you.
And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse.
He will turn your fathers' hearts toward you, and all the children's hearts back to them. If this were not so, earth would be a wasteland when I suddenly come upon you.
This is because the Lord is bringing the terrestrial order with him. In order to prepare the earth for its paradisical state, several terrestrial laws have to be in place and functioning. One of these is temple work, in connection to our preparing for the wedding of the prince, the same that was rejected at the triumphant entry and deferred to the latter days. This is humanity's last chance, and with Elijah's help, it is going to be a complete success.
The end of the prophets.
Until John the Baptist. When the books are all at last opened and restored in the millennium, we are going to see that our forefathers knew much more than we are told they did via modern academia. They knew the actual time they were to expect the Messiah. They were given many signs so as to recognize him. Even the pagan nations were given signs. For example, the Greek world was told by their prophets that he would be raised in Nazareth. The Israelites were told to look for his birth in Bethlehem, but that he would be brought forth to them from Egypt. There are so many of these, and I am here to tell you that no single other human being fulfilled all of them but Jesus Christ, the Son of God, born of Mary. If you understand this, suddenly the New Testament makes more sense. The Jews of Jesus' day were waiting for the Messiah to appear. When John the Baptist, the official Levitical Aaronic high priest, picked Jesus of Nazareth, all eyes went to him. What you will see, once you see it, is that his rejection was personal. The powerful Jews of his day didn't want him. They were hoping that another would show up. But we cannot understate this again. The Jews who recognized the given signs witnessed the life of the promised Messiah and took his message to the world. They fulfilled the calling of Judah and were the only true chosen of that tribe. One of the problems that Judah had in the days of Jesus was foretold by Father Levi and preserved from the brass plates even during Jesus' day. It was known as the Levitical prophecy of the Jubilees. We will save the entirety of this prophecy for another episode. You can read it and more in Volume C of the Gospel Feast series, The Testimonies of the Sons of Israel and the Message of the Plates of Brass. But, summarized for our purposes here, Levi was shown the history of his tribe up to the ministry of the Messiah and his being chosen by John the Baptist as the Lamb of God. What he saw was that Jubilee by Jubilee, meaning in 50-year chunks, the family's priestly family would fall apart. Yes, there would be moments of renewal and purification, but overall, the trajectory would be straight downhill. Thus, by the days of Zechariah, John's father, the priesthood would be such a mess that Jews would be more than aware of their peril, and hence the need for John's birth, or the promises of God would fail. The most fascinating part of Levi's prophecy said that 500 years, or 10 Jubilees, before the Messiah's official triumphant appearance, the Levites would reorganize themselves after the Babylonian exile and then be a roller coaster of good and evil until the 7th Jubilee of the 10, when civil war would break out among Judah. At this exact time, the Sadducees and Pharisees declared war on each other. Here's a truncated history of what happened. The Greek Empire that Alexander founded ruled most of the planet until Rome took over. During this time, the Greek ruler over the land of Israel was Antiochus Epiphanes. He was a real piece of work. It was Antiochus's desecration of Nehemiah's temple that led Judah Maccabee's revolt, which made Judea independent again and gave us the celebration of Hanukkah. He started the Hasmonean dynasty. The major conflict during this dynasty was the combination of king and priest into one role. Even under Saul, David, and Solomon, no single man was both king and priest. In time, those who supported the idea that one man should be king and priest started a political party named after Zadok, the famous priest. They were called the Sadducees. When the new priest-king ordered that all men living within their controlled borders convert to Judaism and be circumcised, those Jews who disagreed formed another party called the Pharisees. Historians claim that they took their name from separatist, meaning that they favored a separation of kingly and priestly power. Personally, I think that these took their name from Farsi, but that will take some explanation, so we'll skip it for now. When Alexander Jannaeus took the throne of Judah, he ordered that all Jews and Gentiles under his control be circumcised. Everyone was bound to live under the priestly code that prior had been only required of the Levites. This was too much for the Pharisees, and they rebelled. The war lasted 8 years. During this time, the president of the Sanhedrin that Ezra had founded fled to Alexandria, Egypt, where there was a second Jewish temple. The head of the Sanhedrin was called the Nazi, the same word that was later used in Germany to mock Hitler, who was an Ashkenazi Jew of the Rothschild family, as was Karl Marx, by the way. The moniker Nazi was used by Hitler's enemies to mock him, but prior to that it was a princely term for a powerful Jew. In terms of our story here, his name was Nazi Simon ben Shitak. While living in Alexandria, he befriended 2 princes of the disposed Assyrian royal family. They were named Shemaiah and Abtalion. He converted these 2 to Judaism. Once the civil war ended in Judea, Nazi Simeon returned to his Sanhedrin. Soon after, his sister Salome, not Herod's stepdaughter, was named Queen of Judah because she was next in line under the Hasmoneans. She granted sweeping powers to the Sanhedrin and her brother. Nazi Simeon brought his 2 Assyrian friends from Egypt and gave them power in Judah. One of the first things they did was start mandatory Hebrew academies. All boys were ordered to attend Torah school, no exceptions. This replaced Jehovah's law that fathers were required to teach their own children at home. Simeon brought these 2 Assyrians to Jerusalem. When they eventually replaced him as the Nazis, they removed Ezra's canonization of the Torah from the schools and replaced it with their own oral interpretation. From then on, and continuing to today, Jewish children are taught not to study Ezra's scriptures and think for themselves, but to memorize and recite by rote the oral tradition of the rabbis and these Assyrians. This started the darshan and the teaching style today known as the dirush. These 2 Assyrians also ruled that the rulings of the Sanhedrin, called the Elders of Israel, were binding on everyone, and they were to be enforced on everyone going forward. Those that rebelled from this called themselves the Essenes. In time, these would take the temple library, which the Sanhedrin said should not be read, into the desert. These became the Dead Sea Scrolls. Jesus Christ was born into this mess, and it was these elders who accused him of violating the law. It was to these that he said, "If you had believed Moses, you would have believed me." It's because the people in Jesus' day no longer respected Moses' word. They knew and studied the Assyrian, Sanhedrin, oral traditions. Sadly, the ramifications of this go so much deeper. We will explore this together in a bonus feast soon. I believe that all of this and more is found in Malachi's warning to the priests, who were both his family and descendants. Since the episode is running longer than intended, if you want to hear about the Nazi side of this, and how it intersects with the modern Jewish mafia, and how it will end up affecting even the world's innocent Jews, and there are a lot of them out there too, please re-listen to episode 67. Unlike your Jewish-owned mortgage, it's free.
And this concludes another incredible episode of our podcast. As always, we thank you for listening, and we'd like to remind everyone that we are not endorsed or sponsored or brought to you by any church or denomination. These are our views and ours alone. For those wanting more meat, remember that the author's Gospel Feast series contains over 20 volumes. It is available on Amazon, in hard copy, and for various e-readers. If you're hungry for more is available. Soon, all will know that Jesus Christ is Lord.